Hello everyone and welcome back to the 5th season of Dungeons & Death Battles as we continue on our journey to find the most lethal monster in all of Dungeons & Dragons. In this season, as with those that have come before it, 16 deadly dungeon denizens will be facing off against each other until we find the most barbaric of the bunch. This, of course, being the CR5 season. The rules of the arena are simple. Combatants start 30 feet apart. There is no fleeing the arena, no outside influence is allowed, and victory is achieved by kill only. Due to some very specific shenanigans last season, the kobold mob that runs the arena have seen it fit to install a 150-foot high ceiling, and have ruled that any creature leaving the arena via any means of teleportation, astral trickery, or the like must return to the material plane within one turn or be disqualified, and likely consumed by the arena arbiters. We don't know exactly what they are, but they sound absolutely terrifying, so best obey the rules. And today we have a fiery roster indeed, with the Barbed Devil taking on the Fire Elemental for a shot in the CR5 quarterfinals. Both of these monsters come to us today with victory in sight and will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. The atmosphere in the arena today is definitely more choked than usual, as both of these blazing creatures have brought their very own brand of fiery excellence to today's battle. Both teams are currently preparing their combatants for battle, and our kobold stewards are currently patrolling the stands, merch carts freshly equipped with what look to be fire repellent clothing, salves, and potions. So prepare your wallets lest you feel the burn of today's fighters. But in the meantime, while all that is going on, we do have time to jump into a combatant analysis. We're starting off in the blue corner with the Barbed Devil. This creature comes to us straight from the depths of the Nine Hells. A creature clothed in barbed spikes, hence its name. The Barbed Devil comes to us today with a hit point average of 110 and an AC of 15. The Devil also has a very good stat spread for the CR5 League, and it is a monster that excels in both the physical and mental attributes, with highlights being 18 in Constitution and 17 in Dexterity, and on the mental side, Wisdom and Charisma both sitting sweet at 14. The Devil does also benefit from proficiency in Constitution, Strength, Wisdom, and Charisma, which makes this monster truly brutal on the battlefield. As if that wasn't enough, the Barbed Devil also has magic resistance, which of course grants it advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. And as its name would suggest, the Barbed Devil does have the Barbed Hide trait, which means at the start of each of his turns, the Devil deals 1d10 piercing damage to any creature it is grappling or any creature grappling it. It can also swing in with a series of fierce multi-attacks to dish out piercing and slashing damage respectively. Of course, that signature Hurl Flame attack, of which it can throw up to 150 feet. Now, the Devil also has resistance to cold damage, as well as immunities to fire, poison, and the poisoned condition, which is going to make this a very difficult foe for the Fire Elemental to bring down. That being said, as we jump over to the red corner, we can announce the Fire Elemental, a large creature composed purely of fire. These creatures are renowned far and wide for their temperament, and are often the cause of desolation and destruction where they tread. The Fire Elemental comes to us with an AC of 13 and an average hit point pool of 93, as well as an appropriate speed of 50 feet. As with the Barbed Devil, the Fire Elemental is pretty resilient, with resistances to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, and immunities to fire and poison damage, as well as the exhaustion, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, restrained, and unconscious conditions. Fire Elemental boasts a fire aura. At the end of each of the Elemental's turns, each creature in a 10-foot emanation originating from the Elemental will take 1d10 points of fire damage, as well as being set ablaze. Utilizing its fire form, the Elemental can move through a space as narrow as 1 inch, and can also enter a creature's space and stop there. For attacks, the Fire Elemental also makes use of a multi-attack, for which it can make 2 burn strikes. Burn with a +6 to hit, dealing 2d6 plus 3 points of fire damage on a strike, and yet again setting creatures and flammable objects alike ablaze. But with all that said, it does appear that the arena teams are ready. The kobolds down below me are waving the go flag. Does mean that it is time to kick things off in today's battle as we roll in for initiative, starting with the Barbed Devil and its +3 modifier. So Barbed Devil rolling in here, looking to get +3 modifier, and that is a 17 +3 for 20 total. There's a very strong roll there from the Barbed Devil as it looks to seize initiative away from its Fire Elemental opponent, which of course will be rolling in next, looking to beat a 20 total. Also gets a +3 modifier, but with a 6 plus 3 for 9, the Fire Elemental will not be able to make it happen, and the Barbed Devil will be kicking things off in today's fight. And with that, the Fiend will be herring across the battlefield to the Fire Elemental's position, where it will begin to rake and rend in with its claws. Where it would usually utilize its Hurl Flame ability, Barbed Devil with its 12 intelligence is going to be well aware that a Fire Elemental is unlikely to be taking damage from such an attack, and therefore the claws and tail will be fully brought to bear here. So rolling in for the first attack, claws coming in hot, looking to be that AC of 13, and a 13 is what it has rolled with that plus 6, topping it up to 19, for which we will now be rolling in 2d6 plus 3 points of piercing damage versus the Fire Elemental, and a 1 and a 5 for 6, topped up by that 3 for 9 points of damage, is going to inflict itself upon the Fire Elemental here. Although as the Elemental does have its very own resistance to piercing damage, damage from that attack will be halved and rounded down to make for 4 points of damage, which will be dropping the Elemental from 93 to 89 hit points just as that tail attack swings in. Worth noting that the claw attack from the Barbed Devil would usually grapple the Fire Elemental, but the creature does have immunity, thus avoiding the condition, as the Devil's Claws simply rake through the flames in front of it. But we do, of course, still have the tail attack to swing in with. So Barbed Devil rolling in here, yet again a plus 6 to hit. And a 12 plus 6 for 18 does yet again secure another strike from the Barbed Devil, which will now get to roll in 2d10 plus 3 points of slashing damage. So rolling in. And that is going to be 4 and 8 to make for 12 points of damage. Of course, topped up by that 3 to make for 15 total, which will once again be halved and rounded down to make for 7 more points of damage, which will bring the Fire Elemental down to 82 hit points at the end of that first round, which will bring an end to the Barbed Devil's turn as the Fire Elemental begins to retaliate. And it is going to roll in to see if it can hit. It's going to maintain its space in combat, and it is going to kick things off by using its burn attack. Of course, now rolling in 8 plus 6, looking to be the Barbed Devil's AC of 15, but rolling in. And with a 17 plus 6 for 23. That is a surefire connection right there from the Elemental, which will now be looking to deal 2d6 plus 3 points of fire damage. So rolling in here for the Fire Elemental. And a 6 and a 2 for 8 plus 3 for 11 is a decent amount of damage output there. However, as the Fire Elemental looks to inflict flaming pain upon the Barbed Devil, the creature in front of it barely flinches. A sickening smile crosses the Devil's face as it grins towards the Fire Elemental, its teeth on full display, as it becomes incredibly clear that the Barbed Devil only felt warmth and pleasure from that strike. The pain of the attack leaving absolutely no mark upon its hell-forged hide, as it does become abundantly clear that the Barbed Devil is immune to fire damage, which does of course mean that the Fire Elemental is unable to inflict any form of damage to the Barbed Devil, and its intelligence of 6 is unlikely to allow it to perform outside of its box. And upon this realization, as the Fire Elemental throws in for another burn attack, hoping for a different result this time, but of course that result remaining the same, the Barbed Devil simply absorbing that hit as if nothing had happened. And if it could look frustrated, the Fire Elemental would certainly look as such, as it continues to attempt to hack and claw away at the Barbed Devil standing in front of it, which is just impervious to those strikes. And with that in mind, the Barbed Devil is going to continue on an onslaught, a path of brutal murder, as it continues to do the same, hacking and slashing away at the Fire Elemental standing in front of it until merely a husk of a being remains. The Fire Elemental simply unable to touch the Barbed Devil, as the audience is being treated here to a raking spectacle as the Devil simply tears the Elemental apart from the inside out, eventually leaving nothing but a smouldering stone behind in its place as the Fire Elemental dissipates into the atmosphere. A once incredibly promising combatant destroyed merely by the fact that its opponent was immune to any damage it could output, and the Devil slowly whittles the Fire Elemental down from 93 to 0 hit points over the course of the battle, which does mean that even without making too many rolls, the Barbed Devil will be declared the victor of this round almost by default here, as the Fire Elemental seemingly met its match at the hands of the spin wheel at the start of the tournament. That spin, of course, pairing it up against the Barbed Devil, sealing its fate from the very beginning, which does of course mean that the Barbed Devil will be rising up into the quarter-final round of the CR5 League, where it will be taking on the Hill Giant for a shot at the semi-finals. And though this battle was over rather swiftly and decisively, it does go to show just how powerful resistances and immunities are when brought to their full potential within the arena. The outcome of this battle, of course, showcasing a prime example as the Barbed Devil was able to just walk through the fire elemental, and once again the spin wheel making its mark in this battle in the arena. But with all that said, if you did enjoy what you saw, please consider dropping a like, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel. And I do hope you will join me again next time when the prehistoric Triceratops takes on the radiant young crystal dragon as they compete against one another for a shot in the CR5 quarterfinals. And once again, with all that said, thank you once again very, very much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.